The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. This is Diana. Thank you for joining us today for our campaign launch, the launch of our third campaign, Between Shifts and Between Jobs. SNAP is working for you. I have here on the screen just some instructions I'm going to leave up just for a few minutes. Sometimes there's a little confusion about how to get in using the GoToWebinar audio. So I'm just going to leave this up for a couple of minutes to make sure that everyone knows how to get in, either using their phone or using their computer audio. I'm just going to ask, if you will, please, for those of you who know how to do that, if you could just give me a show of hands, and just somebody put up your hand to let me know that you can both see the screen and that you can hear us here from the Hunger Solutions office. Thank you, Venus. Thank you, Vilma, and whoever else raised their hands. I really appreciate that. Excellent. Okay, today, like I said, we're going to talk about our next campaign. Here in the office with us is Patty Dubell, Leanne Mandrillo, and also Colleen Donovan. Colleen is here if we have any particular questions relative to policy when it comes to working families, but she doesn't have a speaking role today. I just want to remind you of a couple of things. First of all, when you enter your questions today, and you'll do that by entering it in the question box. And you can find the question box by going up to the right side of your screen. You'll see a little orange arrow. You can click on that to slide in and slide out. That's where you'll find the audio information, and it's also where you'll find the question box as well. Please type your questions in there as we go along. We're going to take questions at the end only, but we want to make sure you put those in the question box so you don't forget a question you might have wanted to have answered early in the program. And we'll take as many questions as we can at the end. If there are any questions that are bigger conversations that might have to do particularly with your service area, then we will give that information to you personally through your contract manager or through Colleen, who's ever most appropriate. Okay, so we're going to start now, and what we'll do is we're going to start with Patty. Patty's going to hand it off to Leanne, and then what we'll do, go back to Patty, and then finally to me to wrap up. Everyone will introduce themselves individually. Please note this session is being recorded, so we can post it for anybody who couldn't join us today. All right, so we're going to first start with Patty, and just bear with us momentarily while we move through and bring up our slides for our speakers. Patty.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to your third statewide campaign for the contract year. Between shifts and between jobs, SNAP is working for you. Please remember all outreach materials must be approved by your contract manager prior to placement. It is required that you complete at least 2 activities per campaign. Your first activity must be placed by the first day of the campaign, and your second activity must be placed by the second week of the campaign. All outreach for this campaign must include the slogan, "Between shifts and between jobs, SNAP is working for you." Remember that each campaign runs 6 weeks. This campaign runs from December 17th through January 31st, 2019. Your placement dates for Between Shifts and Between Jobs, SNAP is working for you. Your first activity will be due December 17th, which is a Monday. Your second activity will be due Friday, December 28th. Now I'm going to hand the webinar over to Leanne, which is she's going to go over our toolkit and the campaign companion.
Okay, everyone, just one moment while we switch presenters.
Happy holidays, everyone. So today I'm going to talk with you guys a little bit about your campaign companion and materials that you have for your activity requirements. As always, the materials can be found on the NOEP network. It will be, you see it up on your screen. It will be the third campaign posted on your network. So when you click to it, you're going to find the logo for the campaign, and then you're going to find all of your campaign materials. There is a very extensive amount of flyers for this campaign, so you have a lot of different opportunities for your placement activities. Just going to go over a few things with your campaign companion. The campaign companion is set up as it always is. It has your goal, it has your slogan, it has your audience and disclosure you need to use. It has some recommendations with regard to your outreach budget. This is your third campaign. We still have 3 more to go in this year. It gives some background about working families as an audience. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on this with you. This is pretty comprehensive in your campaign companion. In addition, there are some placement ideas and referral sources. These would be suggested opportunities to meet working families, and you would know better than anybody else the unique placement opportunities within the area you serve. So these are just recommendations on this page. And then the final page is the SNAP rules. What working family income guidelines for SNAP. If you have any questions about this page, or 6 of the campaign companion, Colleen is available to answer any questions for you. So I'm just going to go through a flyer or 2 for you. As I indicated before, there's a lot of flyers here. Couple things to keep in mind with your flyers. Number 1, as always, we will be getting these flyers up when they are translated into Spanish. They are currently being translated. And also here located will be the recording from this webinar. So in the future, when you come back to this campaign, you'll find the Spanish translations as well as this webinar recording and all your flyers. So some of the different outreach pieces that are available to you in this campaign are the flyers, as I indicated. We also have penny ads, and we also have 2 letters to the editor. 1 letter to the editor is very specific, and I will go into a little bit more detail about that in a moment. So I just wanted to take a minute to go through a flyer with you. So when you click on one of these flyers, it will be, as always, a Word document. So you're going to need to open up your download, which will be on the bottom left of your computer. This will open up your editable document. You need to hit Enable Editing up in the top right. So here, let me pull this up. Here's an example of a flyer. Remember always at the bottom, if you choose not to put your agency logo there, to just highlight that box and hit backspace, that takes it out. However, if you do want to put your agency logo, this would be the place to put it. You want to update with your agency name, the county you serve, and your phone number. Remember, as Patty shared, with all of your campaign materials, you need to have them approved through your contract manager. So this would be what you would need to do with all of your flyers. I'm going to go through one more flyer with you. There is one we've done that is collage, which has a little bit less information on it, but you would still follow the same standards. It would print out into a Word document. You would click open your Word document. You would hit Enable Editing. And here is just an example of one of the various different collage flyers. There's a lot of different type of people who are working families doing a lot of different type of jobs. And we wanted to be sure that we provided you materials that was indicative of the various different populations you serve. So you will see construction workers, farm workers, warehouse workers, maids, anybody that would be qualified as someone who would be in our working family population. And so you should be able to find with your flyers an ample amount of opportunity for you to find a unique flyer to reach your population. Just remember again, if you're not going to put your agency logo there, to remove that box or put your agency logo there. Okay, and then finally, I just wanted to go through the 2 op-eds. So they look very similar. Most likely, if you want to go with the sample letter to the editor, you're going to want to do the first one. And like your flyers, it's going to be a Word document. When you open this up, you're going to want to make it specific to you. You want to put your current date, the name of the newspaper, and the newspaper's address, and your information. This letter, the editor just talks about how hourly workers, seasonal workers have a hard time making ends meet when their hours are cut, or when their seasonal jobs end, and that they may qualify for SNAP, and to contact you, local NOEP coordinator, for more information. This is a pretty standard basic letter to the editor. However, we also have supplied for you guys in this campaign a letter to the editor if the service area you work in has recently had a massive job layoff, a factory has closed, something very local to that community. And in that letter to the editor, you will see that it's very similar to the previous one I just shared with you, but in the opening of the letter, it gives you the opportunity to call out that recent business name has closed or had a massive layoff of workers. And so if that is happening in your catchment area, this would be a really good opportunity to put a letter out because the need is very high. So those are your campaign materials. As always, do be sure to contact your contract manager if you have something else in mind you'd like to do. We are always open and wanting to work with you if you have a specific idea outside of these materials. And if you have any questions, I have to leave immediately at the end of me presenting today, but do feel free to ask the questions to Diana or to Patty or your contract manager, and they will get it to me. And with that, I'm going to pass back over to Patty and wish you all happy holidays.
Thank you, Leanne. We encourage you to distribute outreach such as flyers to as many locations throughout your service area as possible. The more people you reach, the more referrals you're going to get, and the more people you'll have coming to you. Think about where low-income families might visit in your service area, or you can also reference the campaign companion for some ideas of different locations, which are listed in your campaign companion. What do we mean when we say you need to complete 2 activities per campaign? You must choose 2 different documents, and here's an example. It's not limited to these, but here's just an example of one. Your first activity might be a penny saver ad, and your second activity may be a flyer. Or your first activity may be a flyer, one of the flyers that Leanne went over, and your second activity might be the op-ed. And here's a combination of different activities that you can choose from, and I'm sure this looks familiar because you all see it when you fill out your outreach request for your contract manager. Keep in mind that only 1 activity can be submitted per outreach approval request. So your first activity would require that you submit an outreach request for that, and then you'd have to submit another outreach request for your second activity. And feel free to do more than 2 activities if you'd like. What does it mean when we say that your activity needs to be placed by? Here are some examples of activity placement. So the first day you hang a flyer in your local library, that means you placed it. Your outreach activities will continue throughout the 6 weeks of the campaign. And always remember, all outreach materials must be approved by your contract manager prior to placement. Now I'm going to hand it back over to Diana.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, everyone. I'm going to take a look here and see if we have any questions that have come in. And I'm going to just wait just one moment and see if there are any questions. Right now we don't have any, but I'm going to wait and see if any should come in. Right now we just had one person who had a little bit of audio trouble, but I'm not seeing any particular questions. Okay, then. Well, thank you, everybody. We appreciate you being on the webinar today. We appreciate your continued outreach efforts to our low-income community members. I will, again, on behalf of the entire staff here, wish you happy holidays. Should you have a question after this, please either contact Patty if it's a content question or if it's a budgeting question that's complicated, Colleen, or you can send questions to me, certainly, and I can absolutely forward those to the appropriate person. Thank you all, and I'll just, let me one second, I think I might, oh, there is a question. Can I do my second activity before then, before the date, the second date?
You can definitely submit your outreach request prior to the date. Just let your contract manager know that you, just speak to your contract manager about that, but just let them know that you were either, it depends on what the circumstances are, but you may just be needing to, like I have some people that will submit their outreach request earlier on because maybe they're going to be out or different things like that. So they usually let me know what is going on, and then they also let me know the date that they're going to place that particular activity. So definitely speak to your contract manager, and they can give you some guidance on that.
And we have one more question. Can we use a tote bag?
Yes, the tote bags, but please don't forget that you still need to fill out an outreach request for the tote bags that Hunger Solutions provided you. Just make sure it has that slogan on it. And then you're also going to attach that to the outreach request, the universal form, letting your contract manager know that you're using the tote bags that Hunger Solutions gave you, and then you would have the, that particular slogan on for campaign 3, between shifts and between jobs.
And somebody asked a question about attendance, an attendance receipt. That's something that virtually very few to no NOEP agencies require, but for the person who asked that question, I will send you an email that you can submit to your supervisor. Anything else? Okay, everyone. Again, happy holidays. Enjoy this early winter season. And we will talk to you, I believe our next webinar will be January, I believe it is. We'll let you know plenty of time in advance. Okay, everyone, thank you. Again, if you have questions post-webinar, just shoot any one of us an email, who's ever appropriate. If you don't know who, send it to me. I'll get it to the right person. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Have a wonderful day.